Yo, what's up, guys? Say Chronicles here, talking about Spires 97, which is arguably the hardest stage in all of Spires, and pretty much also in the Spires stages to come. This is the stage where most people are stuck. And you can see that, for example, if you check the leaderboards, a lot of people in this server already cleared the 100, but if we go further down, like how many people are on 100 right now, we have about like 60-ish people or something. Yeah, you can even see like these people cleared it with like legitimately less than 1 second left. But yeah, so keep in mind, rank 60 is stuck on 97, and you can also see like everyone that passes 97 instantly is able to clear it to 100. But if we go all the way down on this, you can actually see that this is by far the hardest stage because there's so many people stuck on this stage. And I think it goes down to like 180-ish, maybe a little bit further. Yeah, about 180. But okay, 95 is also, I would say, a relatively difficult stage. Maybe I'll make a video on that as well. Don't really have the clip of how I cleared that one. I guess 95 is pretty difficult for people as well. There's a lot of people stuck at 95 as well. It seems. So yeah, what makes 97, this video is specifically about 97, what makes 97 that hard? Well, it's the main thing that there's just a bunch of annoying units. That's the main gist of it. You can, of course, check what people used here, but then you can only check the first fastest 3 teams, and they probably have like insane runes or like power or whatever, and they overpower it. Most of the time, you actually want to check it with strategy info, where you can also see, okay, what kind of units are there, what skills do they actually do, and that kind of stuff. It's never bad to give this like a few thoughts and a little bit of read of saying like, okay, what happens in this stage and why is it annoying? Well, the main reason why it's annoying, we got a bunch of cleansers, we got a bunch of healers, we got a bunch of, yeah, pretty much just cleansers and healers, and also shields and all of that kind of just annoying shit. We can also check here what's the most used units by statistics. In most cases, people have used a Bastet and a Argon. Espino is pretty common, especially for Cleaves and Kinas, because they don't have strips themselves. Having an Espino really helps out in there. Plus, it's just very good damage. Juno apparently is pretty decent. I guess for the cleanse, it's not bad. For the strip, it's also not bad. Thessarions, there's a bunch of passives there. I'm not entirely sure how good Thessarion is in it, but I don't know. If you don't have Espino, Segment is also a decent option for a stripper, but I think Espino would be a lot better here. Xingzi, I guess, is just good damage. Galleon is good damage. Anifel, typical, and Ariel, typical healers. So in most cases, from what I've heard for Orbia players, they often go with a Bastet, Argon, Anifel, which is pretty common. In the case that you are Kina, I would say that you don't really, Bastet probably still need, but you don't really need the healer, so I would go like Bastet, Argon, Espino. Maybe they don't have all of these units specifically. There's some other options as well, but these are just the recommended units. I also saw for the first few people that cleared this stage, cleared it with a Lauren. So if you happen to have a Lauren has the heal block and strip, if I'm not mistaken. At least I assume that unit has heal block and strip. She is pretty good here as well. So heal blocking is pretty nice, stripping is pretty nice. And yeah, it's kind of like a heavy damage check, but there's slightly more to it than just, well, it's kind of just a heavy damage check and making sure you don't get attack broken and that kind of stuff. I have my run recorded how I did it on my account. I didn't necessarily use these units specifically. I did use Bastet, I did use Argon, but I used Theor. And not necessarily because Theor is that of a good unit in here. It was just my highest awakened, highest skilled, good unit at that time. And I was like, okay, I just use whatever unit I have good. And with that, I could get it pretty far down. So, and at some point, I think I switched to an NFL. So yeah, you have to keep in mind, you just gotta use what you have and apply some of the strategies that I'll show in my video as well, where I did it myself. And you can also see like how many times you actually have to rerun this to run it properly. So oh, it actually says some recommended skills as well. I didn't know, but yeah, that's pretty useful as well, because like unrecoverable, block beneficial effects or remove beneficial effects of Oblivion, apparently they feel like it's a thing. And that would be a lot better here than Thessarion, I would say. Let's see how I did my run. So, as you can see, I did it with this team, and these were the powers that I had at that moment. And I did it. I'm going to mute myself in case I start talking. So, the main strategy that I was going for was trying to snipe out the Tetra on the left instantly. That was pretty much the moment I failed to do that, I just stopped the run. So if she starts cleansing and I couldn't kill her and shield was going up quite a few times, instantly reset your run, because it's just you're wasting your time. You have to kind of get in a moment where she doesn't instantly cleanse. I noticed that holding back on your skills slightly bit and then starting to burst it down is probably a better way, because I just hella reset this run so often. Like if I don't insta clear that, I was like, yo, waste of my time, just go again. Like don't waste your time trying to go for the whole 3-minute runs. If you don't clear the Tetra within like a second, pretty much, that's the idea behind it. Just redo. Just redo. But it is annoying. It will take you a good amount of time. But the main gist of it is that you want to kill this Tetra within pretty much 1 or 2 seconds. You want to kind of run around and kite around a little bit until your skills are back up. You want to do the same process on the second Tetra. And from there, you start bruising down like the whole thing. I think that you really have to keep in mind is that I think it's the Camilla. I'm pretty sure it's the Camilla. She provides attack break. If your Argon gets attack broken, you're not going to do any fucking damage. For some reason, also the half of the map seemed to get buggy at some point for me rerunning this thing so often. But the moment you get attack broken, it's pretty much useless. Like, you kind of want your NFL cleansing then or something else cleansing you. Otherwise, like as you can see here, 2-3 attack down. This thing is getting its shield up and defense buff up and all of that kind of stuff. That is just something that you don't want to get happening. And as you can see here, even just clearing this it feels impossible, right? And that might feel the same way for you trying this run. This seems a little bit better. Nope, also not. So it's just... Also, if you click the retry instead of the other one that says like something like going out, I'm not entirely sure what does it say. I don't know. I click so fast, I don't even read it. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of it. So a little bit later is where I actually start killing it. Not here. Okay, is this my run where I clear it? So in this case, it doesn't die right away. No, wait, that's not my killing run. Did I switch anything? Oh yeah, I tried with Orbia Dark to get some more debuffs in. If that thing starts running, it's also super annoying, but at least I got the heal block on it right now and didn't strip the heal block. But as you can see, I'm already stacking quite some attack breaks on my Argon, so that doesn't really help out as well. In this case, I just didn't run in and I didn't look at what I was doing because I was reading chat or something, I don't know. But yeah, at some point you kind of have to check like, okay, what kind of things do kind of work. So in this case, me going for Orbia Dark was actually the trick for me to get skills in faster, because there's more debuffs and that kind of stuff. So in this case, the idea, what you want to do is you also want to make use of the switching. So you off-link your unit that you normally want to link, and therefore it starts doing the Q skill with just the cooldown rather than you actually using that skill. So you cannot see it right here, but I'm also switching a lot between all kinds of like Orbia elements. In this case, my Argon dies. If my Argon dies, it's pretty much GG instantly. But let's say you don't have Argon, you can do the same thing with Naomi. Well, I guess everyone has a Bastet, but you could say like, okay, I don't have an Argon. We are going to get Argon banner in about a few days from posting this video. But if you don't have Argon, try the same thing with Naomi. It's worse, but it is doable, because in NA I did it with Naomi. I didn't have Argon there. So yeah, I did notice at some point that the buff block was pretty much the useful, or the heal block was pretty much the useful thing to start killing it pretty fast. Does that actually work? I also tried like a whole bunch of other things, like for example, putting up immunity with a shushu, or I don't know what. There were like a whole bunch of options, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can do it. But yeah, don't expect to instant clear this like right away. In this case, okay, we got everything. I got no attack breaks. I'm just kind of waiting for my skills, mainly the Orbia S2 to get back up. I'm using the switch to get the Argon E or the Argon Q in. Based on that Argon Q, I could switch back to the link of Argon and then spam E. So that's what I mean with like switching the link. And because of that switch of the link, I was able to clear out the Argon without having to use an Argon Q myself. So in this case, I do eat a few attack breaks, but it's still okay. We already killed quite a bunch of things. That heal block was pretty useful. So yes, is this easier as Orbia than, for example, Cleave? Probably. As Kina, I think you're still fine and good to go, but as Orbia with the heal block and also the potential of stripping on the light S1 or light S2, there's like a whole bunch of options that can make it work. And as you can see, I'm switching quite a bunch. I also got like the Orbia light S1 in for extra crit rate. And I cannot give you the exact guide for like cleave. I can just tell you like which units I know that other people use. I'm not too familiar with like, okay, what kind of rotations of like different skills you should use or what kind of stuff you should use for like the main character. I think in the case of Kina, you probably just want to go for fire and give like attack buff to your whole team. And that's pretty much just stacking the attack buff. You could go for some cleanses from wind as 3. I think remove beneficial effects from wind as 3. I think that's pretty useful. And I guess in the form of cleave, it's probably wind as well, mainly for electric shock, knocking people up so they don't have the potential to heal. So in this case, I kill all of the side units with 1 minute left. And then in this case for Orbia, since I have the buff block and I have the heal block potential, it's actually pretty doable. So this could still be an issue for other characters. But I guess for Orbia, this is like then the easiest. But I would say that for Kina, for example, you can make your units do a lot more damage. For Cleave, I'm not entirely sure like what... I'm the least familiar with Cleave. Well, actually kind of same, not familiar with Cleave and Kina, but... Yeah, it's important for the units. Like if you have the Espino in here, then you can still shoot. Like you really have to get rid of that recovery like 9 the moment it goes for 0. Because if you keep that up and you're trying to fight it, that ain't gonna happen. So... I even got the 2nd rank time at this moment. I haven't done the challenges on this one yet afterwards. Also, probably if I will attempt this stage right now, I would still feel like I don't know how many times, even though I'm like pretty much 2-3 weeks further in progression than when I did this. This stage is really annoying. Take your time on it. Don't get too tilted out on it. It's just an annoying stage, but you will get there. And main thing is, the biggest strategy is just try to snipe out the 1 tetra within a second. That 2nd tetra at the moment your skills come back, and then start bruising from there. That's pretty much the fast or the best tactic that I've heard from pretty much everyone so far. And yeah, at some point we're going to have to do this stage with like fire only. We'll be a few months down the line before we, or a few weeks down the line before we actually get that, because Spires, fire, and the other elements are not clearable that far yet. But you're gonna get to the point where you have to clear this with only fire units. Well, I guess that would be where you have to use like Thessarion. Not even sure like what healers you would need then. I think a Colleen or something. Well, either how, guys, hope you can make it to the other stage. If you have any questions about other TOA stages, well, main thing is I don't really have like a recording of me clearing them for the first time. I do know quite some people would be stuck on the 95 as well, from what I've seen. 95, best thing I can say is buff blocks and trying to provoke stuff. So have a unit provoking stuff and buff blocking. That's pretty much the best way to clear 95, because the moment William gets a lot of attack buff and then starts hitting something, it pretty much just one-shots, like goes through shields and everything. So buff block is the best thing for 95. If you are stuck at 73, 73 is actually buff blocks as well, I would say. Buff blocks, provokes. And yeah, you can also 73, you can get to the point if you wait long enough, you just hella overpower it and you just one-shot everything. That is an option for those 2 stages as well. But I might make like specific videos for those as well at some point. Either out, guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.